Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I go by the name of Caution, Mr. 700. Reporting live from Thug's Mansion, Dallas, Texas. All over Media Studios.
Oh.
I got my brother Bryson Boom Paul in here. How's it going, my brother?
Hey, yo. Boom, 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 boom.
Another episode of the Already Not Like Us podcast. We got the illustrious guest. Not even a guest. He's been on here more than twice now.
Man.
So he's a resident host, a resident co-host. We got the good man Alex Gonzales in here. So how's it going?
One and only.
We back.
We back
up in this.
You know,
Facts,
Alex over here always doing great things and always raising the bar for greatness, man.
Facts. Recently nominated for an award.
Man.
Dallas Entertainment
Let's talk
Awards,
about that,
Best
man.
Culture Journalist.
The snub.
No, it's not mad love to Jessica Waffles.
Hey.
Everyone nominated. You know,
Yeah.
the media landscape is rough right now, but all of us got to keep our heads up and keep pushing.
Man, shout out to Desi 5 for putting on a great awards, man.
Word to
Another
Desi.
3 years in a row now, and hopefully he get this down to 20 years in a row.
Consistency is key.
The mayor of D Bellum, man,
Facts,
he's doing it. So
How does it feel to be nominated for awards and shit for what you do? Like, how does it make you feel when that happens?
I know it's nice to be recognized. It's nice to be appreciated. You know, I don't have like all these followers. I mean, I'm not like famous, but I like.
Alex be lying. Look, he
gotta keep it on the humble. You know what I'm saying? I feel him.
He don't need to be humble. This man be doing great things, doing great interviews.
Yeah, he does.
Man, great editorials, man, everything. Look, he don't even let y'all know. Look, he did the Grammy Stan Eminem story. If y'all don't know, look into that. He did. Look, who you just interviewed Christina Aguilera not too long ago, man, about, you know. So you can't say he ain't, man. He is his bylines are always on different areas and always doing great things, man. Like I said, he has the bar set pretty high for a lot of us out here right now. So
dope,
what can I say? And you know, it's all about documenting these moments for the culture, making sure they don't get lost in history.
Most definitely,
man.
Every moment marked in time.
Definitely need to make sure our stuff is archived because it's a lot of lost history going on right now in today's media.
People forget,
Man, and delete. People a lot of stuff gets deleted. So,
man, shout out to the most recent Grammy Awards that just passed.
Hey, West Coast, we out here. We did it.
Yeah, man. It's definitely always great to see that kind of shit, man. It's always inspiring. Especially when you see like hip hop being represented in the way that it is.
But it hasn't been represented as for the West Coast. It hasn't been a bigger moment than this year's Grammys. Obviously, last year, you know, Kendrick took home a Grammy for Not Like Us, and obviously that was a big moment for you know, for the battle and whatnot. But this year was a huge monumental moment for West Coast hip hop because I don't think there's ever been anybody to ever produce an album and obviously have not a star-studded cast on it, but to grab the little homies, all the emerging LA rappers that are, you know, have a buzz and give them an opportunity, and the opportunity turns into all of them being Grammy award-winning artists.
Which he didn't have to do.
He didn't have to, but he did. But no, we're gonna make sure we give, you know, caution don't let it be known all the time. But man, we gotta represent Compton, man. Look, Soundwave made history.
Shout out to my brother, man. Shout out to that man.
If y'all don't know, he made history not only for getting Record of the Year at the Grammys, but he is the first hip hop producer to get Record of the Year. So we got him. Hey, and he from Compton.
Shout out to that man, bro. Like, to see something like that, it's like if you, and I talked about him on here before, so when he see this, I hope he don't feel like I'm just, you know, how does the kids say? I hope they don't think I'm just glazing. You know what I'm saying? But no, like to see it, bro, and like to sit there and watch the Grammys. Like my daughter's sitting there, and she's old enough now to where a lot of the new artists, a lot of the artists that was up for Best New Artist, my daughter's 10. She knew all the Best New Artist nominees though, like song for song. And so to be sitting there with her and watching it and then see somebody that I grew up with walk on stage and win a Grammy for Record of the Year is just beyond comprehension. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, but it's not surprising considering his trajectory and what he's been doing. You know what I'm saying? From the work with not just Kendrick, but the work he's done with Taylor Swift, with the work he's done with Beyonce, with the work. And it's just like, bro, you get to a point where you just like, congratulating the nigga through text and Instagram DMs and shit. It just gets to be like, damn, bro. Like after a certain point, what else do you say? But I think it was a strong message for those that, you know, that need that will or that motivation to continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And like it's not always about the glitz and the glamour. Sometimes you winning, you know, in silence. Sometimes you winning in the background, and I think he's a good and prime example of that. So shout out to bro for continuing to push excellence and represent the city in the right way, man. Dr. Dre gonna keep not making records, and one day I'm gonna get on here and tell you the greatest West Coast producer is gonna be my bro.
It's definitely gonna be time. It's definitely gonna be a time where it could be argued who the greatest producer was. Yeah, but man, even with that, it's gonna be hard to, you know, we're gonna have Soundwave, we're gonna have a Dr. Dre, we're gonna have a Mustard. Yeah, we're gonna have a Mustard, we're gonna have
DJ Quick.
We're gonna have an argument that's gonna be a fierce debate on who, man, DJ Pooh, everybody else, bro. Everybody. It's so many producers that really made West Coast hip hop what it is, and it ended up being influential and inspiring.
It continues. I'm just glad that the new generation of West Coast artists continued the sound and just expounded on it a bit. Like Kendrick's music isn't too far from a DJ Quick record when you listen to King Kunta versus something that Quick did back in the day, or if you're listening to whoever it is, bro, there's still a correlation there somewhere. So I appreciate that in a sense, and like to see it on the biggest stage as far as music, how it's presented and how we looked up there. It didn't look like we got up there just because. You know what I'm saying? Like he was up there for a reason and a purpose. And so shout out to Dot, man, for always, and shout out to Dot for becoming the rapper with the most Grammys as well.
Hey, you know what I'm saying,
27. I'm sorry, Hov. You know what I'm saying?
He got 27. He did it.
Which is wild.
You know what though? I don't think Hov trips off that. Like he don't somebody care. Breaking his record, he like cool.
Nah, man, because you gotta think them niggas get one and they be like, all right, cool.
Right?
You look at Clips. Clips got their one and was like, they didn't even care about the second one. They was like, shit, we already won for the night.
It was so hard watching the Grammys, and you was like, I want the Clips to finish the story and get album of the year. But it was like, all right, bet. Even record of the year. But when whoever got it,
that it's really cool that they took like over a decade off of like making music, and then like they come back, and on their comeback they win a Grammy for that.
I think it's wild though how I think the career that Pusha has with Pharrell is what he wanted with Kanye. I think it's the same type of. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
I want the Clips to run it back, so I want them to try again. I don't want them to let that be the end of the story. I want Malice and Pusha T to, you know, really try and go for album of the year again even at next year's Grammy. So
shout out to Freddie Gibbs, won the Grammy.
Hey, Freddie Gibbs,
won the Grammy.
He won the Grammy, man. It was a lot of hip hop that won Grammys this year, boy. It was a lot.
All right, I got a question for y'all, and this is kind of off topic. How do y'all feel about the La Russell situation signing with Roc Nation? I seen people online calling him a sellout because of his whole pitch to what he did. And how do you feel about that?
So I love the opportunity for him. I feel like he earned it, obviously, because obviously if you guys know La Russell's history with Roc Nation, you would know that they tried to get at him early in the beginning, and then tried to give him, you know, pretty much a regular artist deal that he was smart enough to realize, but he was from the Bay, so of course he knew how to work and finesse as an independent artist and to grind and what it would benefit from, you know, hustling on his own before, you know, trying to just take any other deal that he was taking. But he finally, the full circle, they come around, they offering you the world because you've built a fan base and you've built a product that is very lucrative. So
increased his negotiation prowess.
Yeah,
and that's what I always advise to like younger artists who are really, really striving to get that deal. I'd say it's better to build a fan base independently at first, and then whenever you're in meetings with those labels, just try to leverage that fan base, leverage those numbers, and be like, okay, here's what I can do for you. What can you do for me?
Fact. Create the demand.
But I think a lot of people were just what people didn't understand was he didn't sign a record deal with Rock Nation, but people were like, "Oh, I thought you said, stay independent, do all you signed yourself
Which
away."
you technically are still. I mean, if a management deal isn't a record deal,
right? He signed it pretty much. But he said, "I signed a deal, and I woke up the next morning, and I had my song playing on 50 radio stations."
Facts.
Yeah. So.
How did I lose?
It's the same thing like with Chance the Rapper, like 10 years ago when people were trying to give him shit for like signing a promotional deal with Apple Music, an exclusivity deal, and then people tried to discredit his independence, and he's like, hey, I need my money, I'm gonna like sign whatever deal gives me the best option. And Apple Music is not a record label, it's a streaming service, and if they give him like a certain amount for exclusivity, like the first 2 weeks before it's on Spotify or DatPiff at the time, it's gonna be exclusive on Apple Music, like fuck it, why not take the deal, why not take the money? I mean, you're not like signed to a label, you're getting like a little extra money for promotion. It's
not only that, I want every up and coming independent artist to study his situation, even though like every situation ain't for everybody, but you guys really need to study LaRussell's situation, study Russ's situation, who also invested in LaRussell early on
Russ
too.
Is so huge, man.
Yeah, he was the second highest independent certified artist on RIAA. He's one of those, but obviously the number one is Tech Nine.
Shout out to Tech Nine.
So, but yeah, man, all you up and coming, independent, aspiring, emerging artists, man, study these recent accomplishments from artists like LaRussell, Larry June, Russ. Like Tech Nine is a master class right there, man. That's a master class that you can study from. E40
and Freddie Gibbs too. I mean, he recently signed with like Warner, and he had been doing like independent for like a decade before that.
Yep. Obviously, don't just study Nipsey Hussle and be like, hey, I want to just
because that's not going to be a fair model to take. Like you can try that model, but you'd have to go through what he went through. You have to sign a deal, a bad deal, get out of that deal,
pay to get out of that.
You know what I'm saying? And then create this market for yourself to where it's straight to consumer, cut the middleman. That shit took so long, bro.
Yeah,
like for him to get to where he was on Victory Lap from where he started, and that's why I be like, when people talk about shit, I'm a Nipsey fan, bro. If you wasn't listening to Bullets, ain't got no name.
Bullets ain't got no name.
The man Slauson Boys, part 1 and 2.
Man.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing this shit for a long time. So if you're gonna take that route, that's the patient route. But be prepared to like go through the trials and tribulations. But I mean, even like LaRussell, artists like that, LaRussell gave you the game plan all the while he was doing it.
But there's a lot of recent success stories that up and coming artists can follow. And,
definitely.
Set up and maneuver how they want to moving forward.
You just can't be lazy,
man.
That's the thing about it. If you're an independent artist, the lazy aspect of it or the entitled part of it, you have to completely dismantle.
Yeah,
because it's not gonna work. Like if you don't, you're gonna have to not care about performing somewhere and 6 people being in the audience.
Learn the music business. business. Oh, you know what? Remember, there's a video going around of Olivia Dean. She did.
Now there's like 4 people dancing in the audience. 4 people dancing
to her music in 2014.
And now she has the best new artist Grammy.
No, she got a tour. That's do you know it's $1,000 a ticket? Look, Olivia Dean, I want you. Congratulations on that. But look, them tickets, them tour tickets. We need to talk about it.
One of my favorite.
That's why you gotta put your press application application because I'm not spending $1,000. Like I love you, Olivia, but your music is good. But I can't afford the $1,000.
Congratulations on the best new artist Grammy. But look, can we talk about these? Look, can you just add more show dates so it can match out? It can match up. Can you do that?
You trying to get more out of each one?
Man, she said, "Look, I won. Y'all got to pay me."
Nah, man. I think one of my favorite quotes from Drake is in an interview. He said he always be mindful of your who are you moments. And a lot of artists don't they don't accept that shit. Like when people are really getting to know who you are and like you're building a fan base and like really taking that grassroots type of approach, it matters in the long run because you create, you know, this ecosystem like J. Cole has to where he doesn't have to make a radio single for his audience to gravitate to him. Because we already know when he's making music that he's going to kind of give us what we want from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where artists miss out. They try to take the cookie cutter approach and do what they see somebody else do. See, that's the gray area where you got to kind of, you know, there are other examples of people winning and you want to follow them, but tailor it to yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and vice versa with Kendrick Lamar. Like a lot of people like, you know, he had like a reputation as a conscious rapper for a long time. And then people were like, oh, Drake is going to win the beat because they're not going to play Kendrick's music in the club. And then Kendrick put out a whole like album with Mustard, Jack Antonoff, all the key players. And then they're like, now it's the biggest song in the world. Now it's at the Grammys. Now it's at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that right there is crazy in itself. Them, the way they approach that whole situation and how they came out of it. I can't really say that I was 100% sure it was gonna go that way. Maybe I thought it was gonna be a little more competitive. Maybe I thought
that's what hip hop wanted. We wanted a competitive battle. That's what we wanted. We didn't get it.
But it was like people weren't even receptive. Well, Drake fans were very receptive to his shit. So I won't say people weren't, because they'll argue you down right now that he still won that.
Yeah.
Which is cool if you feel that way. They do, bro. Like
I know they will, but it's like
my threads are all Drake versus Kendrick still to this day. There are people hanging on to every thread.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the determining factors are two things. It's pretty much like what the mass public says, pretty much, and our public perception is, and then he forfeited. So bro, Drake said in the song like, hey, I'm not responding after this. You can't forfeit in a rap battle. You can't forfeit.
He's done it multiple times.
You can't say, hey, I'm not going back and forth with you again after this. I'm not doing that. You can't do that. Then you forfeit.
He shouldn't battle anymore. That's why I don't want to hear a lot of that talk from him no more. I just want you to make music like you've always made.
Yeah.
I want you to go in and do the kind of shit where it used to take you 2 years or a year and a half to craft an album, and we would watch the process, and you'd have all the dopest artists in working and writing, and then y'all would be creating these dope ass records, you know. And I want to get back to that, but I feel like he's too caught up in this other shit, and like that's what I fear this album is gonna suffer from, like his ego. I think it's gonna be an ego album, and I don't think he needs to do that. Like, you still can come out here and sell out tours and be the guy you've always been and completely disregard that guy did what he did to you.
Or just disregard the situation altogether.
I don't know why not, bro. I don't know why not.
And I think that was Cole's like best move, like just to like not completely disregard, but just be like, hey, you know, I'm bowing out of this. I'm deleting my diss track. That's all you, baby. That's all you.
Right.
Yeah, man.
I'm just shocked that he didn't even come back to it. I don't feel like, I think he brought up the shit on the song, the record about hip hop and how
that's like I love her again. Yeah.
So I felt like that he briefly touched on it, but he didn't really give me anything for that shit. Like he was like, I'm just not even gonna talk about that shit. Like I don't even like that shit didn't even happen. Like you know what I'm saying?
Man. But you know, Cole. I mean, it's been what? I mean, it's been 10 years in the making. The fall off has been 10 years in the making for J. Cole.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even with him announcing I'm dropping the album, he announced it all the way in 2022 that the fall off was coming, and we've been waiting for it, and it finally released. But before it released, we got the birthday blizzard. Now, how do y'all feel about that warm up before we got, you know, the fall off? Just to start with that.
I just feel like it's overkill. Sometimes.
It was overkill for the birthday.
No, that's what like people used to do back in the day. Like Drake would drop like freestyles like to get people hyped for the album. I think this was like a little too soon. Maybe he dropped like that collection of freestyles like a month or so. Like a week makes it feel like it's overkill just because of that time. But like no, that's what rappers used to do. And like 50 Cent would go on like Hot 97 and like
you know what? That was my only issue with the birthday blizzard, because it came off as a freestyle radio mix, like not even a mixtape, but it came off as a radio set, like some like how they used to like
just go up there and knock some shit out.
Not Rock Nation, State Property, and then like there's so many memorable radio freestyle moments that we've gotten, and then we see that Cole did that by linking up with DJ Clue, linking up, doing all the vintage hip hop beats. And just spazzing, just rapping, no hooks, no nothing. He was just going off. Now I feel like obviously the verses he went off, but it's hard to. The issue is with Cole now is for the even going into the birthday blizzard, it's hard to go into it knowing that he bowed out. So it's like now I can't take. I don't want to hear the tough guy stuff.
That's where you get.
But I want you to. Obviously, we know you are a tactician with the lyrics, so we want you to do what you do and be slick with it.
My only reason I say it's overkill, not because it's like a oversaturation type of deal, but if you have a double disc album, I don't need 4 random songs on somebody else's beats. That's my only problem. Like, you gave me 2 projects worth of music. You could have just went right into the project. Why did we have to wait for you to do that? No disrespect to DJ Clue, I'm just not here for that no more. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been perfect if Cole went to a radio station.
That would have been more interesting to me.
Got all those beats that he did. Go to a radio station, whatever the radio station. Go there. Go to have Clue on there, and it records
and do that shit in
the studio.
That would have been dope as fuck.
On the radar type shit.
Yeah, not on the radar. Don't do that. Go because it was obviously a vintage. It was a vintage project. It was. So go to the radio station. Like, have everybody tune in. Like, hey, J. Cole is here live. He finna do freestyles. He finna do whatever, and drop it on the world. And I guarantee that would have been 10 times better as far as the presentation.
I just didn't
just dropping. Hey, he dropped some freestyles.
Yeah, bro, that's what it felt like. So I mean, I'm not mad at it because I know he has fans and people that yearn for music from him, and I know you have to kind of like.
I just wanted a spectacle.
You gotta grant your fans
that was a spectacle that we should have got with the birthday blizzard. We should have got that.
I think, and I guess we can get into it since we're talking about it.
Right.
I think with the project in general, the wait I didn't mind. I didn't mind waiting this long for it. I wasn't really mad at that.
Well, that was the whole premise of the project. He said, it took me 10 years or whatever to come up with this. This was supposed to be, this is the album that he was perfecting for.
Right.
Yeah, but he's been teasing it since like 2018. Like the last track off of Kids on Drugs was supposedly the intro to the Fallout. Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously he put down on a piece of paper, It's a Boy, Fall Off, all that. We never got It's a Boy. We never got that, but he still has the Fall Off or whatnot. But this is presumably his last album, so it's pretty much his career coming to an end. And did he do that? Did he put out the 2-disc album is obviously clever. It's not the normal 2-disc album. He put
right.
So disc 29 is him, or no, disc 29 is supposed to be him as a young man, or coming to his own, or still maturing, whereas he got disc 39, which is he's went through everything and now he's much wiser. He's giving his perspective on everything after that, looking back. So
it was very I think the storytelling part was very for your eyes only. I think some of the storylines sounded very eerily similar to me, but I guess you'd have to be a J. Cole fan to even catch that, to where it's like, I don't know if this is a continuation of the story you was telling, For Your Eyes Only, if these are different people, but like, him telling the story of the dude and his daughter, and him getting out of the streets.
All For Your Eyes Only.
You see what I'm saying? Like, for that, there was kind of the same theme on some of the songs on here.
A lot of it was a lot of perspective from people that he grew up with in North Carolina.
It's wild though, and like I had been on this kick here recently to where I didn't really even care to listen to the project. Not because I have an issue with J. Cole. I think artists who I put a lot of my faith into, that I really, really love to hear and I've been a fan of since they started, I have a connection with them to where, like, if they do certain shit, I'll like completely like, I need some time type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think the situation with Kendrick, I think I was so disappointed in him doing that it kind of like made me not care about the Fall Off no more. You know what I'm saying? And not because I felt like it was going to be a bad album. I just feel like J. Cole is one of those artists that do a lot of rapping about how great he is at rapping.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so when you go into something like that, I had complete confidence that Cole would have been able to hold his own against Kendrick in any form of rapping that you threw out there. There's nothing that Kendrick Lamar can do that Jermaine Cole can't do. But that was my thought process, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't necessarily the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't necessarily the truth.
Yeah.
And I feel like we didn't get a chance to see, like, we had went all this time, like you had said earlier, Alex, these three artists between Drake, Cole, and Kendrick were like who the main focus people was in the blog era at a certain point in time. And so like people like Wale and those individuals
Big Sean, Wale.
Big Sean. So you feel me? So we finally got a chance to see them all kind of
Freddie Gibbs.
let's see who comes out on top now, because we never seen y'all go at each other in this manner. And for him to kind of gracefully bow out when like you're not an inferior lyricist, you have just as big as a fan base. Your catalog is almost as impressive. I'm not gonna say just as impressive. I'm not gonna play that game with either of the other two.
Right.
I feel like underrated. Like Wale is very underrated compared to like his peers in the game. Like you hear him in the conversation with J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, but you know, like the numbers don't always reflect it. Like I mean, like the impact isn't like always the same. But I feel like he's very slept on.
Oh yeah, he's always. That's kind of what we talked about before. I think Wale has always been around the elites. He's always been in the company of it, even with his first record being with people like Lady Gaga early on in his career, and like he jumped off the porch right into like mainstream hip hop. Like, granted, he was still doing mixtapes and shit that kept him grounded with what we know him for. But Wale has kind of been big time for a long time. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, the expectation for him was always high. Like, always. I don't care how you dress it up. No matter what he did, whether it was him rocking with Rick Ross or him being with Jay-Z under that umbrella, like, he's always had that expectation that what he was going to do was major. I think J. Cole is on the other side of that, because I feel like he's always kind of maintained that he's an underground artist with like a mainstream appeal or desire. He's always wanted that, and no matter what he tries to say, once he got it, I feel like he's seen it and was like, ugh. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so he completely went the other way.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like the Good Luck Chuck of rap, because like a lot of people who he collaborates with like go on to see like mainstream fame, like you know, Lady Gaga, like the biggest pop star like in the world at the time. Tiara Thomas won an Oscar for her song with her. Ari Lennox, all these people, but like Wale has never seen that level of stardom for himself.
Never got the opportunity. But speaking of opportunities, now looking at it now, so J. Cole, I mean, just to go back, J. Cole obviously bowed out of the battle. You know, he apologized, took the song down. But I want to ask y'all, being that in the beginning of all of this was always the argument, who's the better rapper between Kendrick, Drake, and Cole or whatnot. But there were always other artists that people would add into that argument. They would always either replace one or be like, nah, it's the real person who should be is blah, blah, blah. For example, like Big Sean or Freddie Gibbs, or even with Freddie Gibbs getting mad that, Freddie Gibbs is a prime example. He got mad that J. Cole apologized and made a whole song talking about, you know, hey, y'all over here apologizing and whatever. That's not what hip hop is. And being what people have always, hip hop has always been competitive. And it's always been, if somebody's going to battle, it's not about like, we're going to have a winner and a loser, because that's just what it is. But in J. Cole's case, him apologizing, him stepping out of the beef, stepping aside, and when it was a beef that was literally to determine who was number one between the big three. Would you guys say that him apologizing and him taking the song out and him bowing out of the beef blocked other able competitors to jump in and do that beef, or to sit there and make their opportunity?
I don't know. I see it going like one or two ways. Like, I think the main argument is that Cole bowing out of the beef was the smartest thing he could have done.
But I'm saying, like, for him to bow out the beef, should he have not done it in the first, or should it not have been him considered in the first place and allowed somebody like a Big Sean or like Wale, Meek Mill, everybody that came up in that time that wanted to get that crowd, even Joey Badass that came up at that time to get that crown, to say like, you know, hey, you got in the way of my opportunity because everybody was thinking it was gonna be y'all three battling. You bow out. Now we sitting here like, okay, well, why did you take a spot that was available to all these other rappers that, you know, that was mentioned on the Control song?
Yeah. I think, you know what I think happened? I think that, for one, and I tell people this every time I talk about this situation, I don't feel like the Like That verse from Kendrick was even that detrimental to J. Cole. I think that everything that Kendrick did in the Like That verse was all for Drake, and Cole was kind of collateral damage.
Yeah.
He didn't really even mention Cole in that manner besides the big three mention.
But it was always...
And then it was like, for all the dogs getting buried.
Yeah, but it was always aimed at Drake.
That was always but in hip-hop, that was always the long anticipated challenge that everybody wanted.
So that's what I mean when I say that. It's like, I don't think he needed to jump off the porch that much for what. I think the way that J. Cole went about that diss record after Like That was very like, I don't want what happened during the Control shit to happen the same way this way.
Yeah. Right. But if you had no intention on battling, then why did you take the spot of somebody who was willing to
somebody
battle?
Else could have did that.
Like we could have picked a whole nother big three if you wasn't gonna get involved. Like, okay, it could have been Big Sean, it could have been Wale, it could have been such and such, it could have been Freddie Gibbs, it could have been
Joey Badass,
it could have been anybody that was around in the blog area that was coming up that, you know, eventually everybody was like, we got our currency.
So did you feel like that what J. Cole did weakened the stance of like Joey Badass when Joey Badass tried it? You feel like that kind of tainted that a little bit?
I don't think he tried it. I mean, I think by that time it was already. I don't think he would.
Yeah, he couldn't jump in at that point.
I feel like among the big three, because the big three was such a big topic, I think anybody could have been in that slot and could have got the attention and would have been and had the ability to compete. So it was like, okay, Cole don't want to compete. He's sitting there saying, hey, this don't sit well with my spirit. Bet you don't want to compete, you bow out, blase. But if you had no intentions of doing that in the first place, and it was Drake, Kendrick, and somebody else that could have filled that spot that was open to battle and ready and wanted to prove that they were the best among the big three, just to have that opportunity, people like fans would have got more invested in other artists' music. They would have got more invested in the Big Sean's music.
Just the thought of like, this shit don't sit right with my spirit is crazy to me. Like in a rap battle, like a hip hop battle,
especially somebody who was talking like, I'm ready to battle whoever. I don't care.
Because of the little run of his features, if you listen to a lot of J. Cole's music, he kept saying, I'll body any rapper. And it was like, damn, bro, this is the perfect opportunity.
I will bring the thunder.
Like, bro said, this don't sit right with my spirit.
It's to say, like, everybody else, I feel like even ASAP Rocky, I feel like every artist that was left out of the big three, if they thinking about it now, they was like, yo, if I had that spot, I wouldn't have backed out. Regardless, win, lose, or draw, I'm gonna go get my moment, because literally that's what every rapper in their career that is a real lyricist or a real rapper, they want to have a battle, they want to have a victory, they want to have a beef like a Jay-Z and Nas. They don't want to have a beef like Tupac and Biggie, but they want to have a Cannabis and LL Cool J moment. They want to have all the historic battles that have transpired before them. They want to have those moments to add. But do you think the fact
that it wasn't really anything there between the two of them particularly is the reason why he said I don't want to do it?
Even if it wasn't,
probably. I mean, because like, what else could J. Cole say after the fact, you know?
Look, between J. Cole and Kendrick, regardless if they had any real beef or whatever, even J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, regardless of if there was no bad blood between them, period. The whole point was hip-hop said, these are the big three. We argue every day on who's the better lyricist of all of them. If they have no beef amongst no real animosity towards each other, at the end of the day, they are all skilled lyricists, and they all should have proved that, hey, it's no different from a basketball game. All three of them go on the basketball court and play. You think they're gonna be like, oh no, I didn't want to beat my man like that. So,
but I guess it's because like. And I guess in the manner of like, because you know they said he had the conversation with Schoolboy Q at the Dreamville Fest and all that dumb shit. But do you think it was like one of those issues of like, hey, this shit finna get messy?
See, but that's the messy part is all that is obviously it was the personal issues that come up.
Yeah, this shit finna get nasty. You ain't want to get up out of this.
Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, all they talked about, and I'm a student of the game. I loved when such and such was beefing with such and such. And these were your moments. This is your hip hop moment. This is time for you to show your skill set. You rap all day about how you the best MC, you the best lyricist, you the best whatever. Can't nobody mess with you, and if they try, you gonna demolish them.
Right.
Like on some Rakim stuff. Like, but okay, so now y'all got y'all moment. This is the point. Regardless of what personal issues you have, at the end of the day, you guys are all.
So this is your time to show that.
It's time to show the skill. Like it's time. It's time to show and prove.
If you remove the aspect of the beef and the battle and all that shit between them niggas, and then you just completely talk about this project within the scope of how you feel about it, outside of those feelings, just in general, does it change your perspective?
I don't know. I feel like the storytelling of the album is very good. I feel like production-wise, it's a very solid project. As far as like bars and lines, you can tell certain songs were written, circa 2016, 2017.
He did.
Yeah.
He said, I made a lot of this project before.
Right.
And a lot of this project after. It's like it's newer songs, but he said a lot of this project is songs that I've already made and just kept in the tuck.
And you can tell, Cole is a very private person.
Yeah.
So like there was a long time where people didn't know he had a wife, he had a daughter, and there's this song on Fall Off, I think it's called Legacy, where he's like talking about that, how he can't even like commit because he doesn't know what he's having for dinner tonight.
Facts.
Yeah, maybe that was like around like the For Your Eyes Only era that he recorded it because I don't remember. I think it was Rihanna that spoiled that he had a wife.
Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler was the one that spoiled it. He just, hey, bro, so how's Mary? Like, wait, what?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Look, for me, for the Fall Off, when going into it, I wanted Cole to not mention the battle. I wanted Cole not to mention nothing about beefing with Kendrick, nothing about response. I wanted him, because he's, obviously this is a album that took 10 years, 20 years to make or whatever since he made it from the beginning.
So
that shouldn't even be in it.
Facts,
I wanted him to, I pretty much like with the clips, like same thing with the clips. I wanted J. Cole to go in here and finish the story. I wanted him to go complete. He said this was my last album. This is my, like, I want this to complete my career. So I wanted him to go into that, doing that. I wanted him to rap about, everything that the things he had to endure outside of the battle stuff, just the things he had to endure. I wanted him to say what he wanted to say and make a complete project that fitted him. That obviously we all know J. Cole for the storytelling. He gonna tell us about North Carolina. He gonna tell us about what he went through, and that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted from him.
That was my takeaway from this project, especially is that one. I think it moved him into that outside of maybe Slick Rick. Outside of maybe Nas, Eminem is high on the storyteller list for me. I don't care what nobody says. Say whatever you want to say. There's even a song on this project, I can't remember the name of the song, where J. Cole is mimicking an Eminem flow, and I was like, damn, if you weren't really up on Eminem back in the day, you can't even really tell what he's doing. Yeah. But he's paying homage to that style. I'd say with this project though, it doesn't fall out of the range of a standard J. Cole project. I think if I was slotting it in as just his own his catalog, this would probably fall in the top 5, but it wouldn't be his best.
Nah, what I'm saying? Like, you know why? It's not his. It's not gonna be his best because he had a moment with Forest Hill.
Yeah, I feel like Forest Hill is like destined to be his universal album for the rest of his career.
The way it came out, the way the story that he gave on there was literally, and it was an album that just transcended and became, it had everything, the infusion to be a deep introspective album and being an album that people can play on the radio and people can play at the clubs and whatnot, like play at parties and all that.
He'll never eclipse it. He'll never eclipse it. I think if you talk about,
and nor should he. He shouldn't try to be like, I'm going to make a better album than Forest Hill Lane.
I think this definitely, if you never heard a J. Cole album, this isn't going to explain who he is as an artist. What more so it'll do is kind of give you who he is at his core, because it was very North Carolina centric. And I'll say the other part about it, and which is wild, is like going to North Carolina last year as a part of a tour we were on. I guess it gave me a greater respect of like the thought process behind some of the songs a little bit because I'd never seen North Carolina before. So you don't know like what it's like to be a black person in North Carolina unless you go out there. You know what I'm saying? And so I kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? I get because you know the whole mixed aspect of him having a white mother. He brings that up a lot. And for me,
there's like a song on the album where he straight up says the artist on the mic got a white mother. Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And so I think going through that to see it and like I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I even had a greater respect for Luke. Because Lute is from, he's from Charlotte. And so to go to Charlotte and kind of really see it and be like, oh, okay, that's dope. I get why you, that kind of shit, bro. So I think that's kind of how I came away from it. Like, not his greatest project, not gonna blow you out of the water if you never heard him, but solid as far as, like, every aspect of what he was trying to do. I don't feel like he missed.
It fits right in with the story of who J. Cole is. It's like a good, if this is the end, it's a solid ending chapter.
Facts. Being that this was the end, and you guys know that J. Cole normally doesn't have features on his album.
He does not.
He does not. But he has features on this last project. He has Future, Tim's, Westside Gun.
He's got the Boozy sample.
Yeah, he got Burner Boy. He got everybody. He got the obviously common samples on there and whatnot. But being that, like you said, J. Cole had a Dreamville roster. Oh, okay. Even before anybody say like, oh, what about Boz? Boz wrote Tim's hook on the project. So Boz did contribute, but I'm saying to say this, man, this was J. Cole's last album. Should he have had a posse cut on the album with all the Dreamville artists? Pretty much like a thank you. Just hey, thank y'all for rocking with me, signing with me, doing everything, like taking a chance on me.
I don't know. I feel like in this day and age, posse cuts, they're a lost art form, but I feel like, people who are fans of hip hop, they all appreciate a good posse cut. Yeah. I don't know if it would have landed well, especially because like a lot of the public fallout with Dreamville, especially like Ari Lennox has been open about the fact that Dreamville is scooter over.
There was a lot of talk about why J. Cole didn't have any involvement in JID's album as well. So look, I thought it was interesting that he wouldn't have them on there. But when you think
not even that, he wasn't even featured on JID album.
That's what I mean.
But J. Cole had set it up a long time ago where he don't have no features on his album, and artists on his don't really have features with him either. Like, so
if his goal is for you all to be independent, then that shouldn't be the expectation. I think it is kind of and I was gonna ask this as well. How do you all feel like it fits in with the recent wave of the albums that just came out? Because I feel like that was a stronger wave of like hip hop albums that came out. When you think about the Freddie Gibbs, the Clips, the
Wale, A$AP
Rocky, like all these albums that just came out, the JIDs, if you want to throw GNX in there, however you want to go about that. Like, how do you all feel like this album falls in with the rest of those? Does it stand amongst them, or is it above them?
I feel like it's above it because it was a moment. It's supposed to be. It was a long-awaited moment. Like everybody knew the fall. It's like everybody knew the fall off was coming eventually. So it's like that. Being that he knew he had preached it for a long time that this was gonna be his final album. I feel like that takes out of what was coming out at this time, because they were like, okay, well, J. Cole's dropping his final album, so it's a moment.
But also I feel like if it had come out like around the time of like God Sort 'Em Out or GNX and all the others, I feel like it would have gotten lost in translation just because like GNX was a cultural moment. That God Sort 'Em Out was a cultural moment.
It was.
I think the timing of an album release is very fundamental in its cultural impact, and I think it came out at just the right time.
Yeah, when there's not much other focus on any other album, I think you do have kind of the lingering, and it was right after the Grammys as well, so you don't get swallowed up in that media storm.
Well, not even that, man. The concept, all the material, the concept on the album, or the content on the album, if he would have put it out at any time, would have thrown off everything that was going on in hip hop. They'd have been like,
that's true.
Everybody would have been talking about, like A$AP Rocky put out this, and he was talking about, he mentioned Drake and and the Clips were talking about, this, that, and the third. Anytime he would have released that album, it would have threw off everything going on in hip hop. They'd have been like, but Cole just dropped an album that he just telling stories about growing up in North Carolina and whatnot. And he wouldn't have had anything that would have been like, oh, he said this about such and such too.
Because he didn't.
Yeah,
and I guess he took the route that the new, and I don't want to say the new version of J. Cole. J. Cole's always been a very safe. I feel like J. Cole's a very safe hip hop artist.
Yeah,
like when you think about it,
safe is a good word.
He's never giving you the edge or the risque type of vibes. Like he's always played it very safe. Like even before he turned into the dread-headed guy who wore the same shit. Before then, like J. Cole was very clean cut. He was very very industry standard when he was trying to get to where he wanted to get to.
And the Letterman jacket.
You see what I'm saying? He always played it very safe. As opposed to somebody like Kendrick, as opposed to somebody like even Drake per se. Drake's not a very safe artist. I think Drake's take to music was very risky because he was in a lane that a lot of artists are scared to touch on because they get stuck in it. And so I think Drake being able to sing and have R&B records was very risky for him in an era that he was in, to be competing with Kendrick and J. Cole and the Wale's and the Big Sean's because they were strictly rappers. So I think that he took a route that was very risky, but he was prepared for it because he knew that his music was golden.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was different for him. I don't think J. Cole could ever take a route like a Kendrick Lamar. He can't really go the route that they go because he's always been very safe, and I think this album was very fucking safe.
You think the album was safe?
I think the album was very safe, bro.
I think he had to tell his story.
But I don't think it's a bad thing, though. That's what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
I think it was safe in the fact that he didn't veer away from what we wanted from him.
Right.
He gave us what we wanted, and I feel like that's the part where he won to me. Like, I don't care if he wins a Grammy for it. I don't care if it goes quadruple platinum. He stayed within the premise of what I respect him for, which is lyricism, storytelling, quality of beats, and his ability to rhyme seamlessly in any type of formatted beat that you can give him. I think the most impressive thing to me on this was, like I just said, and when me and Alex was talking about it before we started, his flow is probably the most polished I've ever heard it.
Yeah, man, he had 20 years to perfect it.
Like listening to him as an artist myself, to hear the way that he's like weaving in and out, bro, he is amazing at it.
Yeah, he crafted it.
You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's the part about Drake that people don't understand why we stop fucking with Drake, because it's like if somebody's writing your shit, you can't do what J. Cole is doing. You can't do what Kendrick is doing. And that's the difference between the three of them. I think when it comes down to who's the best lyricist out of the three of them, the conversation should have never veered outside of Kendrick and Cole. It should have never veered outside. I don't care who you trickle in and throw into that big three.
Yeah.
If they not rapping like those two, then I don't think it's even fair to put them in that mix. It's not, bro. It's not. And like, GNX ain't my favorite Kendrick album. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, he didn't make it to be a favorite.
It's not my favorite Kendrick album.
GNX is an album that is for the homies.
Yeah,
I made it so
I
my
speak
homies
about,
can eat.
And when you speak about Kendrick, I feel like a lot of people get caught up in this new era of him as if that's all that he is.
Yeah, okay, but like, it's not like your favorite Kendrick album. It's not the best Kendrick album.
Right.
But I feel like Kendrick needed to make that album because he had like a reputation of being like a conscious rapper, a quote unquote woke rapper, but like he needed to do something for the streets, something for the clubs.
And whenever he would do that kind of thing in the past, it was always just like in spurts. He would do a little bit, but he wouldn't like focus on it completely. For him to do a whole album like that was wild. I think with the exception of Reincarnated, the shit he did talking about T, Black Hippie, and then the other shit with him and SZA, I think if you took those three joints out of there,
but GNX won a Grammy, but I mean, and it's cool that all the West Coast, like the younger West Coast artists won, but if I'm Schoolboy, Absol, and J-Rock, would I not feel the type of way? Like, dang, we could have got on that album. We did. I mean, I don't know. However you want to feel about it, blah, blah, blah. But it's to say, like, man, we could have made it on there. Like,
I don't think they would have felt the way, because I feel like even when Kendrick was on his rise, I feel like even when he got there, he was still doing shit.
He always look out for him.
Yeah, he always did.
But I'm saying, even if I'm J-Rock, Absol, Schoolboy Q, Rayvon, I would have been like, oh no, he made an album, it's cool, like we ain't tripping. But to win the Grammy, obviously he didn't know it was gonna happen.
But he always does.
But he was like, dang, they all got Grammys and we didn't.
Think about it though. The only album he had everybody on was what, like.
Good Kid, Mad City.
Nah, really, Section 80, Good Kid, Mad City, or what? Money Trees was the only song there with J-Rock. They wasn't on Good Kid, Mad City at all.
Yeah. Nah, but if Good Kid, Mad City would have won a Grammy, it would have been different.
Won it,
J-Rock would have had a Grammy already.
He would have had one. So
but I think, in terms of cultural impact, I mean, You know, we all know the story about Macklemore winning over Kendrick, but I think in terms of cultural impact, Good Kid, Mad City is one of those albums that's
and I feel like that set J-Rock up for his own, because J-Rock won a Grammy on his own, didn't he?
Yeah, and you know that song J-Rock, win.
Oh yeah,
in every fucking like
he won a Grammy
show,
for that, didn't he?
Yeah,
I
don't know if he won a Grammy, but it's in every Netflix show, every like sports commentary podcast. It's everywhere.
But I mean, if he did, that's great.
I want to just.
But to say across the board, it's like, man, all the homies got one. All the homies got a Grammy right now. Like, I literally made an album that won a Grammy for best rap album, and all the little homies got a Grammy. So now they prices done went through the roof. Now you can't just book them and be like,
no. He won the Grammy for King's Dead.
Who? Oh, so the one with him, Future,
and Kendrick. Yeah, he won.
Which is cool.
One was nominated, but King's Dead was his song. So I guess so he did win one.
But I'm saying, like, to sweep everybody getting Grammy. You get a Grammy. You get a Grammy. You get a Grammy.
Facts.
The whole West Coast, I mean, the whole LA get a Grammy. Not only did Kendrick give you a pop out with every LA artist to come out there and do they dance and do they thing. And not only that, at the end of it all, guess what? Y'all got Grammys.
Yeah.
Y'all all got Grammys.
Walked away with one. Facts.
So,
but I think and maybe in a sense, you know, that's kind of what he brought up on the song. What was the song that he talks about all them niggas on the GNX shit? What's the name of that song? Use your heart and not your
Heart Part 6.
Yeah, Heart Part 6. I think that's kind of what he was speaking on, but I feel like he kind of realized it too late. Because honestly, if they would have done a Black People album,
I wanted Blue Lips to get Grammy nominated. I don't know why it didn't.
Man, that shit was hard. But
it was Blue Lips was sorry. Blue Lips is better than GNX. I don't know what
hands down.
Blue Lips is better than GNX.
If we talking about just sonically, for sure, for sure.
If we talking as a complete project, Blue Lips is better than GNX.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So
so maybe in a sense. But if you had to rate the Cole album 1 through 10, 1 out of 10, we're gonna go 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. What you giving it?
I don't know. What if we did like what the source used to do, where it's like 1 out of 5 mics?
5 mics. Ooh.
Oh, it's getting 5. It would get 5 mics. I'll give it 5 mics.
It's a 5 micer?
Yeah, I'll give it 5 mics.
Okay, so if Forest Hills Drive is 5 mics, you give me
5 mics.
That's what I'm saying. It's comparable to that.
Nigga, you get 6 for that.
But
if we doing like 5 mics, Cole's album is a 5 mic. It's 5 mics. I mean, it's the last. It had everything to make a classic album. He announced it as "This is my final album." He did the whole thing around it to make it the spectacle that it is. Now, outside of he should have did the radio thing. That would have been chef's kiss for that. But obviously, everything surrounding that is the last album. He linked up with all not the biggest name producers outside of Boy Wonder or whatnot. He linked up with the producers that fit his style that he's always wanted to work with. Yeah. The Alchemists, the Conductors, and all that. Like, all those real hip-hop that he grew up listening, reading about in The Source, Double XLs, Ozone magazines, whatever. Everything he can get his hands on. He sat there and got those people to make the album that special, to be like, I went back and got all those people that I dreamed about working with and dreamed about doing this. Now, obviously, outside of the features, I mean, at the end of the day, yes, he should have had a Dreamville artist make the final album. Like, he should have had JID, Boz,
Ari Lennox,
Luke, Kaz, whatever. That anybody should have made I mean, obviously, he had Tim's on there. He could have put Ari Lennox in Tim's spot.
Yeah, that's true.
For the album.
That's
so
true.
he could have did that if he wanted to, but obviously he didn't. He made the album that he felt was the best for him. So it would have been 5 mics.
I don't know. I feel like with the context of this being his final album and him going out on such a solid high note, this would be a 5 micer.
Okay.
But I don't know. Had it come out like at any other point in his career, it would probably be 3.5, 4. Like, if we're
I'd say, okay, based on the things that these things are typically rated on, it would be lyricism, quality of production, I won't say songwriting, but I'd say
song structure.
Song structure for sure. and you'd have to throw in whether or not there was a mainstream appeal to it in some sort. So how Forest Hills Drive gave us no role models.
Man,
you see what I'm saying? How he gave us those to where it wasn't like, hey, this ain't necessarily a radio song, but this shit's so crazy.
It turned into one.
This shit's so crazy they gotta play it on the radio.
It turned into one. Man.
And so I think for me, the only reason why I wouldn't say 5 Mics is because it lacked that. I feel like 2-6 comes close.
Oh yeah, 2-6 is 2-6
comes
growing
close.
into it'll grow into a radio record.
But I feel like the only reason that it is because it's the only thing that sonically comes close to that. Now, are there other records that can be bigger that are not only radio songs but that'll end up like Grammy worthy? Yes. But only because it's J. Cole.
Will it be Grammy nominated?
It has to be.
You think so?
I think so.
Bro.
I think so.
Has to
I feel like those old white Grammy voters like J. Cole.
I feel like it
and like you said, it's a safe album.
Right.
So
right. I feel like it came out too early to be considered a Grammy.
You don't think it's within the window?
I don't know. No, it is because it came out.
Like technically, it's within the window.
It's so early that
but
it
I think it's
lost.
so early now that it's so many albums that are going to probably drop in 2026 that could end up like overshadowing his early release.
And you know, there's always a recency bias when it comes to the Grammys.
Because you only get is it like 5 or 6 people or 5 or 6 albums that get nominated.
But with it being a double disc, you don't feel like he can stretch the content out long enough to keep it relevant?
Oh yeah, he can do everything. He gonna do a tour and all that.
He has to, and so maybe that'll be
you still got Drake coming. You still got.
I'm sure there's another Kendrick album.
Man, you got Eminem or somebody working on that album. You got all this. 50 Cent even said he was working on music. You got T.I. T.I. just dropped a song that everybody is.
They do fuck with that shit.
Yeah, everybody is feeling that song. So he got an album coming. Everybody, and that's not including all the new artists that are hot today that people are waiting. Gorilla. Everybody's waiting on a Gorilla album. Everybody is waiting on these
very early in the cipher as far as that goes. So maybe that'll be more of a detriment as far as it lasting.
Cole is still Cole at the end of the day. He might. I mean, it could be like, hey, we got to.
I think the tour is going to be crazy, and I feel that way because there's a lot of records on here to where you get the diehards and you get the heads, and you know them tours always be fucking wild. But I do feel like there should have been more of less of the features as far as like the Burna Boys and all that kind of. I love the song, I love the concept, but I don't feel like you needed to have that necessarily. You know what I mean? Like if you was going, when you get to a level, but when you get to that level though, this is how I feel. When you get to that level, your features should only be impactful.
They should all be supplemental.
Right. They should all be. They should all have a purpose because you don't have to necessarily reach for somebody to help get you a smash. Now you're doing this because I can really get whoever the fuck I want to get on the song, and it's for the quality of the song.
Yeah, it's like why Beyonce got Grace Jones on the Renaissance album.
Man.
It's like.
If you sit all this time with these dreams and aspirations to do shit, you have the opportunity to do things at the highest level. Why? I sometimes ask why. Like, why couldn't you have done? Why is there not a fucking Jay-Z feature on this album?
Well, Jay-Z was the one who like co-signed him in the beginning.
That's what I mean. If this your last one, why is there no Nas feature? I couldn't get a Kanye West and you song together finally.
No, you wouldn't go get that.
That's what I mean. If you're gonna do a feature, make it make sense, bro.
That's another one. Kanye dropping Bully. So even if he don't get nominated for a Grammy, whatever, obviously he'll have his rant on why he didn't get whatever. But you know, it's still albums that are coming out that has a chance to overtake all of that.
I just don't get why he didn't try to like give me one big splash.
We got Wale. Okay, so let's go into it. Let's say, all right, is Wale's Everything a Lot? Everything is a Lot. Is Wale's album Everything is a Lot better than J. Cole's The Fall Off?
I think if we're talking about like cohesiveness and song structure. Yes. This is a prime example of what I was talking about as far as hip hop goes. Like, these dudes don't have no beef against each other. They friends. But at the end of the day, hip hop is competitive, and they should be able to release projects that get debated and get determined on who has the better album amongst the two. Right. In my opinion, Wale's album is better than J. Cole's album. Yeah.
And it's just based on just the flow of the album and the vibe and everything. And
I'm gonna have to go listen again. And let me listen to it again. Yeah. If I'm saying it today based on what I remember from Wale's album, I'm gonna say that it was probably. I'm not willing to give.
You can't say that Wale is not equally or not a better lyricist than J. Cole. You can't say that. Wale is able to compete with any of the top or any of the big threes or any of the rappers that people want to say.
Yeah. If we talking just rapping,
spit.
Yeah, there's not a huge gap there as far as lyrical ability.
Right.
If we just talking about just rapping only.
Just rapping.
I'm not talking about like anything else.
Just rapping, creating the song. Yeah. Wale can do all.
Between the two of them, I think now if we talking about the two albums and what I hear as far as rapping wise, I feel like J. Cole is a step ahead. Just like
a little step ahead.
Lyrically right now, because even on the fall off is inevitable, track 2 from Disc 2, I don't think Wale can do that in his best day. No, bro. No. And I'm not saying that he's not good enough. I mean,
he's done it.
I feel like it's something only Cole could do.
I feel like he's done it. Okay, so he's done it. I feel like Wale has done it, but he's done it in mixtapes, not
of course.
A commercial release. And that's probably the issue.
That's the difference.
It's like, damn, man, like because it's a lot of artists that will go on these mixtapes and spaz out. And as soon as we get the album, they either played it safe or it was too commercial.
Succumbing to the pressures of the label. That's like what happens.
Yeah, it was like, dang, like.
And so I think that's the difference when I'm listening to an artist like that. Like, are you willing to do that on your album and make that the focal point? Like, that was the first song we heard from this shit.
Right.
And so for that to be your way, I feel like the difference in J. Cole and Wale is our first look into Wale's album. If we think about if you're gonna pick the one that's gonna lead off, Wale is gonna pick a radio single. He's gonna do it every time to where you just like, oh, Wale dropping Let Me Ignore Bad, because even though it's a dope song, I know there's some other shit on the album that I'm gonna get to. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I feel like Lotus Flower Bomb, that's gonna be his like universal song.
So everything is a lot. Wale's first single off that album was Blanco. That was the one he did where, Drowning and Sorrow. He did that one. That was his first single from the album. Whereas, obviously J. Cole just, he did this 2 track track 2. So
yeah, I think J. Cole is at he's at a certain point when it comes to this shit, bro, to where like he's like the upper echelon of lyricists, of rappers in general, and I feel like he's at a point where he plays the game to his own rules. And
as he should.
Yeah, as he should. And I feel like that's the difference between him and most. I feel like even with like if you talk about the big 3, they all do it. They all operate on their own, on their own premise or way of doing things. Like Drake is gonna put his album out the way he wants to put it out. He's gonna work the way he wanna work.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And I feel like this was J. Cole saying, even if this ain't my last one or this may be my last one, I'm gonna do it how I want to do it. And like it don't really. I admire I don't give a fuck about public perception. I admire that. Even though I don't respect him dropping out of a battle, I admire the fact that he don't give a fuck about he dropped out of that battle. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, it take a lot for a man to be able to say and stand on his own. Yeah, accountability and to stand on your own laurels and say, I'm doing this for a reason and I don't give a fuck what y'all think. And so I respect the fuck out of that. But I feel like if this is his last album, it left a little meat on the bone for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as somebody that's been a fan since Lights Please up until now, you see what I'm saying? You left a little meat on the bone, bro. Like,
I don't know. Like, whenever last summer, or it might have been summer 2024, like, whenever all the old mixtapes dropped on streaming, the come up, the warm up. I know, I was like, I can't wait to revisit these again, because like I had them on Dat Piff, but like they get lost over time. But like I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to Light Sleeves, and I'm like, oh my god, a lot of these lyrics did not age well. It's kind of cringy.
Hey, but them Sally Mae lyrics that he have on the mixtape stuff, that was, man, he was dodging her like. Dodging
Facts.
That, like, it was, man, it's funny. It take you back, you be like, I remember those calls too.
Yeah, man, I used to, like, I remember hearing J. Cole for the first time, and none of the homies was listening to J. Cole at the time. And it was like, my mission was to put them niggas on to J. Cole. It was just like, how do y'all not know who this young man is? Like, he's rapping just as good as everybody else, and it was just kind of like, nobody really was giving him the time of day because it wasn't like the traditional form of what we was used to. But to see where he's taken it to and how long he's been doing it as far as longevity goes, and like how his biggest deal was like having a single and having a record on radio was like gonna be what blew him up. And to see him now as an artist, not give a fuck about that, the transition, I think everything that goes into it, I guess the album was a success as far as like painting the picture of where he started up to where he is now. But it did leave me wanting like, okay, it got to be a little bit more, and maybe that's what it is.
So here's a question. So, I mean, obviously, J. Cole went into this saying this was his final album, but can an artist determine if it's in the final album, or do the fans determine if it's the final album?
It has to be the label too.
Well, not the label. I'm saying
they don't got no power.
Nah, not in that case. When it comes to after the album is released, the label is whatever. Go ahead. But I'm saying he said this was his final album. But I'm asking you, does the artist determine when it's their final album, or do the fans determine when it's the artist?
It has to be the fans, bro, because then you end up in a situation like Jay-Z to where you give up too soon, but there's still a demand for you to put out like a record. And so, like, say for instance on some shit like if J. Cole says this is my final album, but he's still out here doing features.
Well, not even that. Just, I mean, you make an album that's incredible, and now people don't want you to leave.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But if you still out here doing features, you have that.
Oh yeah.
You give the people that aspect of like he might still do some shit. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, oh, you might as well put an album out. You get people gassing you from your features. Like, hey, go ahead and put that album out, bro. You killing everything you touch. So I think it has to be the fans. I think the artists. There's a point though. I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like maybe that's where the fall off comes in for him. And I can't really speak for him because I've never been in that predicament to where I'm at the top of something. But I know that this thing that I'm trying to fight against is inevitable. It's kind of like the father time deal with LeBron James. Like, I know eventually I'm gonna have to retire. Yeah. But like, how long do you keep that shit going before like?
But the fans still want you to play.
You know what the saying was: live and be the hero, or die and be a hero, or live long enough to become the villain. Yeah. And I think that's what's kind of happened to J. Cole with the whole situation he just went through anyway. So maybe this is like his way of saying, okay, y'all got it.
But I feel like the audience demand always changes, and I saw this like it was back 2017, like whenever 21 Savage had dropped its album, and then Jay-Z had dropped 444 at the same time, and then Lonzo Ball said its album was better than 444, and then he got a bunch of shit for that on Twitter, and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe it's warranted, but at the same time, you know, Lonzo is like a Gen Z baby, and whereas us, like, we grew up in a time where we appreciate the production, appreciate the lyricism and the storytelling. So I know it's a differences in generation.
And that plays a huge role into it as well, because you do have, like we said, we do have these nostalgic artists that still make music that's quality. But it goes under the radar because the younger generation doesn't either have the knowledge of or the respect enough to even tap into it, because it's not what they're looking for. And so I get that, but I do think that in order for somebody like J. Cole to make a project like this, in the back of his mind, he's not done. He's not done.
I feel like I think he's done. I think he feels like he's done because he's tired of the industry. Yeah. But at the end, I mean, to answer the question, I know it sucks, but I think it's the fans. I believe at the end it's the fans that determine when you're done. Even though it's messed up because it's a balance, because you can make your last album, quote unquote, and the fans will be like, okay, we don't want to hear from you no more. Right, it's like, all right, you go sit down, man. Go sit down somewhere.
Yeah, we're tired of you.
Yeah, we're tired of you. But it's like when an artist says this is my final album, and you make an album that your fans are in love with, they don't want you to leave.
No, that's true.
They're like, hey, you can't leave now. We want more music. Like, we heard this was your last album, but you can't be done, because what are we supposed to do? We want you to give us more. Right. And then it's like, at the same, that's the messed up part, because even if you want to give them more, you give them more and they don't like it. I don't like that. Now, okay, go ahead, go sit down, go bye. You're done. You're done. Yeah. We don't need you anymore. But it's the fans that determine. I mean, as messed up as it is, it's the fans that determine when you're done, I guess.
Yeah.
But do you feel like as an artist you would always feel the need to like feed the beast in that sense? Like, okay, we weren't really satisfied with that project. Go back to the drawing board. Like, are you gonna always try to,
I don't think you should. I think like if they didn't like it, if you've obviously proven everything you need to prove.
But you want to go out like that though?
I mean, you have to, because your fans want you to not go out like that, but your fans are in such demand of your music that you can't not, like you said, feed the beast. You gonna be like, hey, look, they keep begging for more music.
That battle.
Here, take it, and then you give them the music. And oh no, we don't want that. Go ahead, then.
It's like, I don't know, like it's like Dr. Dre has been like,
people still waiting on Detox,
and I'm like, I don't even want Detox to drop right now because it's not gonna be the same.
People still but they still want Detox. That's the thing.
You hear what DLC said about it? They said why it didn't came out. DLC said because it wasn't good. I was like, oh shit. You gonna simplify it like that? Nah, but
even if it's not good, people want Detox anyway. So they want it to come out. The fans want it to come out so they can say, "Hey, we glad you kept it where you kept it."
So if you look at the approaches of artists, right, and you say once they get to a certain point, would you rather have them approach the game like Nas and continuously drop music if they at that phase, or do you want them more like Jay-Z?
Don't be like Nas. I mean, a lot of y'all don't have the lyrical abilities to create collections
and just keep making shit over after and after. I was a little worried after the Kanye and Nas shit.
I mean, in Nas' case, okay, so yeah, the Nas and Kanye thing was dope for what it was. Obviously, it gave the fans what they were asking for. But then like.
He got the stuff with Hit Boy though.
Yeah, he surprised everybody with Hit Boy. He made a collection of projects that were incredible with Magic, and then he did it again with Hit Boy for another collection, or for I think
King's Disease.
King's Disease.
They did 3.
Wait, so King's Disease was the one that fans loved. Magic was the one that it was like, all right, you doing a lot. You oversaturated.
You doing a lot. We didn't need another series from y'all.
Yeah, we didn't need it.
It's the same 2 niggas. Why is it a different series? I get it, but like y'all did 3. Come on.
So that's a prime example of when the fans would be like, hey, we wanted more, but now we've had enough. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that to get back to it, man, like I hope this isn't his last project. I definitely enjoyed it. I'm still listening to it as it is. I wasn't gonna listen. I don't ever listen to albums when they first drop though. I'm one of those people that'll wait until the hype dies down, and then I'll tap in at a moment to where I'm most vulnerable to listen to it, like where I know I'm gonna receive it in a way in which it should. Like it's always at a time where I need the music, and like if I go in search of new music and I know it's something that I've skipped over, this would be something I would have came back to like 2 weeks from now and be like, oh shit, this shit's fucking crazy, or I hate it, or whatever the case may be. But I did enjoy the project through and through. Not a lot of skips.
Not a
lot of skips at all. I don't like J. Cole talking love all the time. So when he gets into that bag to where he's just like a complete love song, that ain't for me, bro. You got it. But like I did like the majority of both discs. I get the premise of it. I understand it. I'm not against it. I'm hoping for more. I would love to hear. I can't even really say I would love to hear more work between him and Dreamville artists, because I did listen to.
I mean, from what I know, Dreamville is pretty much everybody left, or everybody has been signed off, or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I can't say I would have liked to hear more of that, because the compilations gave me a lot of that.
Yeah, that was.
And they did a lot of those, and so I got a lot of those features and shit from that, in different variations of it in ways that I probably would never get any other time. So I can't really say I'm really mad at that. I think in this day and age, the industry does need J. Cole. I don't feel like we're in a position to where we can lose somebody of that stature and they'll be easily replaced.
Yeah.
And so that's the part about it that I don't like, because we don't have a lot of artists to where we look to for that kind of shit. And so to lose a legend or somebody that's great at what they do, it's not something that you look forward to. So that's not something that I want to see happen. But I do respect somebody doing things on their own terms as well. Yeah. And so, you can't have everything. I get it. I don't want to be selfish. Like, I can't. You can't rap forever, bro. I get it. Yeah. I just saw Westside Gunn talking about his next project. It might be his fucking last, because he don't want to be the 50-year-old rapper. In that instance, I would say Westside, I'm cool with that. Like,
it's the same with like Andre 3000 and the Flute album. He's like, and everyone's like, "Oh, we wanted a rap album." He's like, "I'm like 48 years old. What do I got to rap about for?"
Get this flute. I'm giving you this flute. Take this flute. It's all you getting from me, and the occasional verse every now and then, which I respect. I respect it.
Do y'all feel like for the fall off? Do y'all feel like J. Cole? Do you guys feel like J. Cole found his closure?
I feel like if this is his last album, and I think the same of Rihanna, like if Anti is her last album, that's a good note to go out on. Yeah. I feel like if this actually is J. Cole's last album, then this is a good note to go out on.
He can go out satisfied with this one. Yeah, me wanting more is just, like I said, my own selfish thought process. I feel like if he chose to make this his last project, he gave us enough music to sit on.
I feel like he got everything off his chest. Yeah. I feel like everything he wanted to say, everything he wanted to get out as far as the emotions and everything that he went through, rather growing up, going through music, going through all the trials and tribulations, I feel like he was able to find that closure that he was looking for.
Do you feel like we need Iceman?
Yeah. You need Iceman. I mean, everybody dropped but him, so yeah, you need Iceman.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's only right. Give us the Iceman album because that was what you were pushing after everything transpired. So fans have been waiting for it. So it's like, cool, just
see that through.
And you've been talking about it like, hey, I'm in here cooking, I'm in here doing this, that, and the third. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So yeah, he needs to drop Iceman. So
super dope shit, man. Listen, we're always gonna be here for this kind of thing. I'm glad we've had so much hip hop here recently at this standard for us to be able to enjoy and consume and talk about. It's been super dope to see it and be a part of it. And then in any way that, we see these kind of things come to fruition, to have these kind of conversations, to discuss them, because these are moments in time that we'll look back on and remember and say, hey, you remember when he dropped that shit? And depending, a year from now, how this album resonates when it's Grammy time again or when it's award season. And that'll kind of be another barometer. I think right now you have those that are like diehards listening and everybody tapping in because it's new and it's fresh. And then you'll have that period of time where like you'll see whether or not it withstands or if there's a single that lasts, that keeps it afloat. And then you'll have a tour that comes along and we'll talk about the shows and what's happening at the shows. And if it's as big as the GNX tour or it was all a Blur tour or the, whatever it is, if it gets the biggest
definitely getting a fall off world tour. That's what y'all getting.
You gotta get that, bro.
J. Cole finna be on tour for the next 3 years around the world.
And so I look forward to that, to see how the people receive it. Yeah. And then when it's award time, we'll see how the Academy feels and those that feel like they're prestigious enough to vote on these things and see how it resonates with them. And so that'll kind of complete the cipher as far as, really the success of an album. And that's why I say it's kind of tough to really figure out if an album is going to be successful so early on, because if it's an artist of this stature, there's so much they have to do to make sure it sees its true, true words. So, but definitely dope talking about it with y'all, man. Y'all got anything else? Anything else on the docket?
Man, just stay busy, stay out the way, man. Stay productive.
Man. That's a fact.
You too can make a fall off album. You too can be a J. Cole if you sit here and really pound the pavement and hustle and perfect your craft.
You gotta think about your craft.
Yeah,
evolve
your
artistry.
Tell a story. So
open up as a person sometimes. Be more personable instead of being the typical rapper or artist that people can't get to know. Sometimes we want to know a little bit about you,
man.
Sometimes we want to know if you listen to an asshole.
Don't back out, no beef.
Yeah, and I want to take it back to Caution's point. How you said you don't like hearing Cole rap about like this love shit stuff, but I think when you look very back in the catalog, like Lights Please.
Oh yeah.
Or like Can't Get Enough. A lot of those lyrics are like low-key misogynistic as fuck.
Very much
but
so.
like now, like he's like married, he's a family man. Yeah. It's interesting to hear how he's evolved, not only as an artist, but as a person.
Listen, I love the Fold Clothes. You know what I'm saying? I love that record.
I want a Fold Clothes.
Like that was like very mature of him. I just don't I think a lot of times with like those kind of songs when he specifically talking to women, I just let them have it. it. Like y'all got it. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for the bars. I'll come back around for that. I'll let my wife listen to it. But no, man, Cole is a generational talent, and I'm just happy to have a new project to delve into and add songs to my fucking shuffle playlist that I can bump whether I'm in the car or working out or at work or whatever it is that I'm doing. I appreciate the music that helps get me through my day.
I hope he is happy with his. I mean, obviously, he is happy with his catalog, but I hope he is happy with the career that he has carved out for himself.
I hope so, man. Be proud of it. Be proud of that shit, bro, because you made it through where most fail as far as like artists being able to see this shit through and really do it on their own terms. Even with the mainstream, the signing a major deal, being with a big artist,
going through what you went through,
and still coming out and being able to say, I got all my masters. I'm able to record independently now. I can do what I want to do. Like stand on that and be proud of it, bro, because a lot of not artists can say that shit. So well, listen, man, shout out to everybody tapped in. What do we got? Listen, we got and this will come out early enough for people to see and say this. We got Stove God and Jay Electronica coming to Texas, man.
Hell yeah.
So we gonna have them here in Dallas, of course. They'll be at Trees. We'll have them in Austin. Shout out to why am I drawing a blank? Empire Garage and everybody there. Shout out to Warehouse in Houston. We'll be there, and we'll be at Club 210 in San Antonio for the first time. So if you out there, man, tap in. Shout out to Galaxy 9. Shout out to Clockwork. Shout out to my brother Bryson Boom Paul.
Man.
Shout out to Alex Gonzales for all the dope work that they do. You know what I'm saying? If you want to really get into real music journalism, you know what I'm saying? Not just hip hop, but just overall, and people that's really writing and talking about the things that need to be discussed, man. Tap in with these brothers for real.
Man. Especially.
Dope, man.
So y'all enjoy yourselves.
Thanks. We out here.
Say, look, so